Okay, this just came out a few hours ago. It's really happening. A lot of people thought it wouldn't happen because Islam said this and that. He said, she said, but now it is official that Volkanovski will challenge Islam Makhachev's newly gained lightweight title. And it's crazy because Islam Makhachev won this title, what, like 3 weeks ago against Charles Oliveira, and this I haven't slept in like 21 days since that fight happened, you know. And I know if I did that, I would get nightmares about it because it's traumatizing. I cannot sleep at night. And I have not watched it back because I already know it's going to hurt to watch. It definitely hurt to watch at the time. But, um, you know, it is what it is. We move. And Islam Makhachev is the champion now. He really dominated. It hurts for me to say this. He dominated Charles Oliveira. Like, it was bad. On the feet, on the ground, it just was not. But that's not the point of this. It's not the point of this. The point of this is this new fight, crazy fight. It's gonna happen alongside the Whitaker and Costa fight that got announced a couple weeks ago, right before the Makhachev fight, actually. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an interesting card. This is what it looks like right now. If we just add the Volkanovski and Makhachev fight, this is, I mean, UFC 284 in Perth, Australia is looking up to be a pretty decent card with some exciting fights, big names, and we haven't even gone half of the card yet. So it's gonna be interesting to see what it is. But the thing about this fight, this is a very special fight, and it almost didn't happen because people were not, or they did not seem interested in it, you know? Like, Volkanovski and Makhachev, they're not the most popular fighters, you know? If you get what I mean? There's a lot bigger names in the sport. Obviously, now they're going to become, like, propelled into superstardom after this fight, which I really hope so because it's what they deserve. But you look at previous title fights, like double champ fights, McGregor, Nunes, Adesanya, Stipe, and DC. It's always these huge, hyped up things. And maybe since it just got announced, it's not as hype yet. But I don't know what it was. People just don't seem excited about this fight. Me personally, I'm excited because I'm a Volkanovski fan and I was a Charles fan. Like a genuine one, you know? Not because of Khabib or Conor or him or her or anybody. I was a fan of Volkanovski since his win at 266. I'm a new MMA fan, you know? I haven't been here for the longest time. I'm a new MMA fan. I was a fan of Charles since his win at 269. And I was a fan mainly because of the story, the comeback, the fact that you can be down in the gutter, just down deep, about to be cut from the promotion, missing weight and losing bouts, 10-8. And you can come back to be champion 11 in a row, most submission wins, most finishes, and what is it, like most performance bonuses, I think. I like that story a lot, and it inspires a lot of people that watch the sport. It's what the sport's about, you know. But he lost, so it is what it is. And obviously, this is one of the bigger matchups that we've seen in the past couple months, or at least it should be, you know. Like, here, like, really what it comes down to, the last the last fight between two champions was UFC 259 with Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya, and Adesanya lost that fight. So who was the last person to win double champion status, really? We're not counting the Nunes and Pena fights, by the way. We're talking about, you know, it's like different. I stumbled. I'm gonna edit that out if I can, but the last time someone won a double championship besides the Nunes Pena fight was actually Nunes, but it was in 2018, end of 2018, for UFC 232. So imagine this. Volkanovski beats Islam Makhachev to win the lightweight title after Volkanovski had to earn the respect of the fans after controversially beating Max Holloway once or twice, depending on how you view it. He had to earn that back by a war with Ortega or proving himself against Max a third time. And some people still, I still see it. It's crazy, but I still see it. People not giving Volkanovski that credit he deserves. I mean, he is the number one pound for pound fighter for a reason, you know. And I think a long time ago that it was time to give him that credit. He's getting more of that credit now, which I'm happy about. But it's a lot of pressure on Volkanovski because here you have Islam Makhachev. Think about it. Because Volkanovski's been in the top 15 pound for pound for the longest time, for a while, you know. Makhachev entered the top 3 pound for pound, or even the pound for pound at all, just like 3 weeks ago. And already he is scheduled to fight the number 1 pound for pound. That is crazy. Just think about that. I don't think something like what's happening specifically here has ever happened ever in the history of the UFC. For a guy 3 weeks into joining the pound for pound rankings, or 3 weeks into winning a title, already fighting for number 1 pound for pound in the world. That's this fight. This is for number 1 in the world. More people got to start putting their attention to this fight. This is an important fight. Now, who do I think is going to win? Well, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. Probably. It depends on how I feel in like 1 or 2 minutes. But obviously, look, here's what everyone's talking about. Volkanovski's 5'6". Volkanovski is shorter than, I'm pretty sure, every guy friend I have right now. Makhachev is 5'10". That's 4 inches taller. It's nothing too crazy, you know. 4 inches. I mean, that is a difference in height for a fighter, but it's never. That's the thing. People always talk about it like, oh, where is this short guy? Bring him in. You know, Makhachev said that. Obviously to be funny, to sell the fight. But I see people genuinely thinking like, oh, wow, Volkanovski, he's at a genuinely big disadvantage because of his height. And maybe they're right. Obviously, that's going to be there, the disadvantage in the height. But you talk about Max Holloway, who he beat 3 times. He's taller than Makhachev. Or Brian Ortega, who's also taller than Volkanovski. TKZ, the Korean zombie, he was bigger. Most of these guys that Volkanovski has fought and dominated, like, he's way shorter than. And he doesn't let that define him really as a fighter. It's because Volkanovski is so good with his striking that his height, it almost becomes like, it's almost like it's not a factor in his fights. Because how he's able to land so well, or feints, or get inside of the range that's necessary. I admire that a lot. I think that's crazy. But come on, it's not like Makhachev is gonna stand and bang with Volkanovski for a majority of the fight. This fight's gonna spend a lot of time on the ground, and a lot of people generally think like Volkanovski has no chance on the ground. But I saw a tweet. I forgot. It was from a ranked UFC fighter, but I forgot who, but it was something along the lines of someone as thick and short and strong as Volkanovski is going to be tough to keep on the ground. And I hadn't thought about that. And maybe it was because I let other outside opinions or voices, you know, try to like, I don't know, in a way, influence what I thought about the whole fight. But it surprised me because I didn't think about that before. But in thinking about it now, it's like Volkanovski's chances are much higher than a lot of people think his chances actually are. And according to what people are saying online, a majority of the fans think Islam Makhachev might just walk through Volkanovski. And to those people, I say, I don't think you've seen Volkanovski's past 5-6 fights. Volkanovski has insane heart, insane determination. His work ethic is crazy. His involvement in the sport and his, like, Volkanovski, he's always game. I mean, even with when Makhachev won the title, Volkanovski was the backup guy. He even made weight on the same time that Oliveira Makhachev made weight. That's how game this guy is. He's anybody, anywhere, anytime. He'll fight whoever it is, and he will not let himself go that easily. You saw it against Brian Ortega, and you saw it in somewhat like difficult fights, like with Max Holloway. And Volkanovski's fought some of the best, whether it's Ortega or Holloway or Mendez or Aldo, or even the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski has pulled through each and every time. He's on like more than a 20-fight win streak, I'm pretty sure. He's undefeated in the UFC. I think Makhachev is in for a fight. And I think Volkanovski's in for a fight too. I think this is going to be top 3, top 2, maybe his most challenging fight yet. Because Makhachev, he's interesting. It's not even a spectrum. It was one or the other. You either had crazy belief and trust in Makhachev, you thought he was the next big thing, or you thought he didn't deserve this spot. And he was, I guess, overranked. Like he should have been ranked lower, but was ranked way higher. And that was me. I thought his ranking was crazy. He hadn't beaten a top 5 guy ever. And he's immediately going in to fight the number 1 contender for the vacant title. I thought Charles Oliveira had that in the bag. And then Makhachev proved me wrong. And I'll admit it. Makhachev put on an impressive performance. And he has my respect. And I think he should have more people's respect. And I think Volkanovski should get a lot of people's respect as well. This fight is going to be madness. I mean, it's very tough to call this fight. You look at all of these fights lined up for the future, right? And you don't see many that are more tough to call than this one. This is the toughest one to call. And if you want my prediction, listen, this is an early prediction and I haven't really thought of it thoroughly. But if I had to say, I'd say right now, just off of like instinct and what my gut is telling me right now, I'd say Volkanovski by some sort of unanimous decision. And that could change. It's likely to change. You know, we're only in November. This fight takes place almost exactly in 3 months. You know, just under that. So I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna see where this goes, and then in the lead up, and we're gonna see what happens in the fight. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting one, and I mean, it's not like anybody's gonna watch this video, realistically, but keep your eyes on this fight because it'll be worth it for sure.